think the first thing to do is to define what procrastination is. And the dictionary definition I have here, and I also have my own definition, which I'm going to use as the foundation of the discussion today. So what is procrastination? It is putting off important activities that may be demanding or stressful for something pleasurable or irrelevant. And it just makes sense, because if all of us have procrastination on our list, an average human being, we don't want to do anything difficult. So we often find it easy to do away with or delay things that may be overwhelming and just do things that are easy to do. But my own definition of procrastination is that procrastination is an abuse of time. Procrastination is an abnormal use of time. So with that definition, before I can talk about procrastination and what to do to prevent procrastination or convert that attitude to a positive one, I think it's very important that we talk about the concept of time. Because when we understand the importance of time, it will be very easy to deal with procrastination. And I want to start by saying that your greatest asset in life is time. There's a common saying that time is money. But I disagree with that statement. Time is more than money. And this is my rationale. If you lose money, you can make money back. Right? If you lose money, you can make money back. If you lose time, you can't make it back. So, and that puts time to be more valuable than money. Because actually, money is a function of time. Time is not a function of money. If I want to talk mathematically, we're talking about sets and subsets. Money can be a subset of time, where time is the superset. But time cannot be a subset of money. Does it make sense? You have to have time to make money. Does it make sense? So time is more valuable than money, number one. Number two, time is given to everybody, regardless of your location, equally. When it comes to time, there's no discrimination with time. The same amount of time the President of the United States has is the same amount of time that the janitor in the White House has. Right? The same amount of time the CEO of a company has is the same amount of time the lowest paid person in that company has. Despite the fact that we put in the same amount of time into things, even at work, we don't get the same amount of money out of it. So, why is the disparity? Because if we don't understand the concept of time, there's no way we can deal with procrastination. When you understand the value of time, it will be easier for you to know how to spend your time. And the value you have added to your life over time will determine your worth. I've established the fact that your greatest asset is time, and the value you have added to your life over time will determine your worth. And time is more important than money, like I said. And making up for lost time is difficult. What you're supposed to do now, most of you are like late teen, early 20s, and you still have a lot of opportunities in life. What you're supposed to do now, if you don't do those things now and you wait for the next 20 years, I'm not saying you're not going to be able to do them, but you do them with more regret, you do them with more rigor, you do them with more responsibility. The support system that you guys have right now may no longer be there. Does it make sense? So lost time is very difficult to gain back. And it takes determination and more effort to redeem the time. And that's why many people give up on their pursuit. Because they're like, you have to double up, pretty much. Because if you don't do what you're supposed to do now and you want to do it later, probably some of you have decided to get married, settle down. Now you have to be faced with the responsibility of managing a family and then building a career that you're supposed to build right now. Does it make sense? And it can be tough. So, there's time for everything. And when we understand that there's time for everything, procrastination will not be much of a problem. There's time for what? Everything. So, and time determines seasons. And the expenditures of your hours will determine the outlook of your day. And how you spend your day will accumulate to become your week. And the cumulative activities that you have expended your time on a weekly basis will form your month, right? And then progressively will form your year, right? And eventually will determine your life. So every second counts. That 1 second, that 1 minute is ticking, is adding up. At the end of the day, that's what's going to determine. That's what's going to determine the outcome of your life eventually. So there are things that we often do to time. Number one, we can invest time. And most of you are at that stage of your life that you are investing time, which is good. You are in school, investing your time in building a degree or in obtaining a degree that will help you to build a career. Some of you are doing other things, investing in time to decide your future. So some of you, what you're doing right now, I would say not some of you, every one of us, what you're doing with your time in 2019 will determine the quality of your life in probably 2025. And that's the unfortunate thing about how we spend time. The result or the outcome of how you spend your time most of the time is not immediate. What you're doing with your time now will determine the quality of your life in the next 5 years. So just pause and ponder on how you're spending your time. This is an investment that I'm putting into my future. What is it going to yield? So it's very important to do a due diligence to determine the yield on the long run. Very, very important. Success is predictable, so is failure. If you're doing nothing with your time today, if you're doing nothing with your time in 2019, if you're not investing your time appropriately, guess what? There will be no yield in the future. So it's very important that you do a due diligence. I'll still take more time to talk about it because we are not really at that depth of purpose yet. But to take time to talk about goals and visions and how to set priorities. And these are individual things. Because what I respond to may not be what you respond to, but the process is the same. So you can invest your time. Number two, you can waste your time. And in this world of social media, except you don't want to be honest with me, we waste a lot of time. For those of us that have the new iPhone app, it will tell you your screen time for the week. How many of us always get that update? And I think that's really nice because it helps you to look at, okay, I spent 20 hours of my life just flipping my phone and just getting caught up in frivolous things. Somebody was interviewing Steve Jobs before he died, and in the interview they were talking about how they assumed that his children will have different kinds of gadgets and arts. And he said, like, in his family, it wasn't something that he allowed his children to use like that, because he would prevent them from using their brain. So time can be wasted. So you want to look at, how am I wasting my time on a weekly basis? But you can't measure the weekly activity or control your weekly activities if you cannot control your daily activities. We're still talking about procrastination, and this is not a digression, naturally, because it would be difficult for me to establish the importance of dealing with procrastination if we don't understand the usage of time. You can waste your time. We waste our time on different things. I'm not saying that we should live an uptight life, but what I'm saying is to encourage us, to motivate us to find balance in the way we spend our time. The other thing that we can do to our time is to sell our time. And that's a very tricky one. You can use your time to build other people's empire and business, and that's what we do more. An average human being in a capitalist economy, what we do is to sell our time. But you need to pause and ponder, like, if I'm buying your time for $1, you're not making more than $1 off of you, right? So before you sell your time, you need to be a good negotiator. And that's where I'm going to wrap up tonight by telling us this parable. And I need to establish this while I kind of get to where the parable is. The best book I have read that teaches the concept of time management is the Bible. The way you read the Bible is the way the way you read the Bible will determine what you get out of it. If you need to learn about time management, you need to read some of the Proverbs of Solomon, and you need to read some of the parables of Jesus. As busy as Jesus was, he had time for everything. All right? And he was so time conscious and organized that the time he needed for rest, he didn't compromise that time. The time he needed for solitary moments, he didn't compromise that time. The time he needed to be with people, he didn't compromise that time. Everything was so organized. And that was why he was able to get the results. But we mumble everything together, that we just do things like spontaneously, and we don't have an organized system of spending our time. And because we don't have an organized system of spending our time, and we don't know the value of our time, people are taking advantage of your ignorance. You know, the parable Jesus said, or it was something else I was trying to say there, but it was something else I got from that parable. Matthew 21-16. I won't read because of time, but it's told a story about a vineyard owner, like a business owner. That man went out in the morning, hired some people into his business, right? And told them, I'm going to pay you $1. So at 6 a.m., he hired those people. They signed the contract. And they signed the contract for $1, right? He went at 9 a.m., got more people into the establishment, promised them a fair wage. Noon, he brought in some other people. At 11 p.m., okay, he brought in some other people. And when he was going to give them their paycheck, he started from the people he hired last. Gave them $1. To the people he hired first, gave them also $1. And the people that started the employment with him at the beginning, they were forcing. And he looked at them and he was like, what are you talking about? You sold your time to me for $1, right? I paid you what you asked for. You know, they could have gone to that man at noon that, okay, we've been here all day. We want a revision of the contract, right? Or at the beginning, they need to ask, like, okay, how does this work? So if I start now, is it $1? If I start at 11 p.m., is it $1? We don't ask intelligent questions. We give out